I'm CK. Tonight we've got another oscillator build. This time it's the Seeds oscillator from Ginko Synthese out of the Netherlands. Looks like it might be a fun 90s style oscillator. Let's see how it goes together and see how it sounds. Hope you enjoy the video. And here's the box. Simple box, clean. From The Hague in the Netherlands. Picked this up from thonk.co.uk where I buy a great many of my modules. Eurorack cable, a small one. Take the piece of paper out first and see what it has to say about itself. Oh, we got another sticker. Always good to get more stickers for the sticker wall. It's easy. Let's start building. Okay, it's a good thing. Make sure you have the tools. Basically, put diodes, resistors, diodes, capacitors, LEDs, a regulator, and so on. Oh, and then it does have headers where you could plug an Arduino in, which I might do sometime. I just have not felt very interested in that. And then that's it. Okay. I programmed your Arduino already for you, but now every now and again there might pop up new firmware. So we can update the firmware if we need to, but again, I don't do Arduino stuff. Okay, let's see what the circuit board looks like. Here it is. It looks relatively straightforward. Seeds at the top, a couple of potentiometers, 7-segment display it looks like. Then here is the board. It's going to go with it. Switch, diodes, resistors, none of the value. There's a 072 op-amp. The components do not have values. Oh, here's all the jacks. So you do actually need, well, some of them do, the power regulator and I thought there was a transistor also. Might be on a different board. So you do need a build guide or the parts list that we have there to know where things go. Let's look at the front panel next. Oh, we got 2 stickers. Okay, so there's tuning, and then it also says shift quantize, so I am going to assume that's a push pot. And as you can see here, you probably can't see, this area is where the 7-segment display is going to be, and there are some holes punched in here and some areas of the panel material, the composite material, that haven't been painted over. There's a select, decay, shift for attack, so it looks like it's got its own attack decay envelope in it. Oh, and that's the shift button. So these are not push pots. There's a shift button and an enter button. And some little constellation of pretty much nothing. Another area that seems semi-transparent. What would be behind that? I don't see an LED there. Mod, and the shift is cut off. So pitch CV, gate to fire off the attack decay, decay CV, modification, and then the out. Looks pretty straightforward. Oh, by the way, the board, it looks like to be a good one. Good through-hole plating. Here's the Arduino board. We won't open that for right now. There's the 702 op amp, I'm pretty sure, is in there. Here's all the standard type components that we know and love. Make sure the bag's empty. These should be 104s. Are they 104s? No, these are 103s. Little caps to buffer the chips. Bunch of diodes. 2 fatty electrolytics. Pin headers, which I assume is where we're going to mount the Arduino board. More resistors. And we've got 1 transistor and 1 power regulator, voltage regulator. Some diodes for the power supply input. These are 104s, right? Yep, that's a 104. And we've got some foil caps and 1 LED. Now where is, I guess the multi-segment that they're talking about is in one of these bags. So I'm going to open this one up just to see what's in here. No, that's definitely a TI 702 op amp. So where is not to be handled by unauthorized personnel? I am authorized. My credit card made me an authorized personnel automatically. Okay, so I'm not sure what goes here. Unless there's something under the Arduino. Nope. Huh. Let me see what this has to say to itself. Okay, you've seen me take everything out of the box, and I'm not seeing, there's more, good, because I was missing the potentiometers. Okay, here's the Jack's potentiometers, and there's the 7-segment display I was looking for. So we've got all the bits and pieces. Let's get the soldering iron heated up, and we'll put this thing together. So we're going to start with the diodes, and first, if you've seen some of my other videos, you might have seen a different solder helper. I've been using this, but then I decided to make one of my own. So I got some high temperature silicon rubber from Amazon and built this, finished it up yesterday. And it's really pretty neat. It's bigger than the other one, so that's nice. So I have a new solder helper. You can look for the video of that on my YouTube channel. So we're going to do D1 through D6. Let's see, first thing we always like to know when we're working with a new manufacturer is how close to the body do we need to bend the pins for resistors and diodes. And that's D1, and looks like we need to leave about 2 millimeters to the side of each diode. You don't want it flat as close as you can get to the body. The other thing you may notice there is the cathode side is alternating, so stripe this way on D1, stripe that way on D2. Same thing with D3, D4, and the D5, D6 pairs, so just be careful. You get the diodes correct. I did it wrong the other day when I built my Blades of Ingenuity module from Frequency Central. I got one diode wrong backwards and had to go back in and fix it because it wasn't working. So, just means no matter how much experience you have, human error exists, and you just got to be careful. That's the diodes. Now we'll go through all the resistors, and as is typical, don't have a lot to say about resistors, so we'll go into fast playback, and you can just watch them fly onto the board. So that's all the resistors. Now we'll take the power conditioning protection diodes, put those on. One thing I've noticed with this board, I don't know who manufactured this for them, but the component holes are, lead holes are big. They're a little bit oversized. Usually, I mean, the resistor leads were kind of flopping around in the holes, and usually with these big diodes, it's very tight, but there's lots of room here, so whoever manufactured this board was a little more liberal with the diameter of the lead holes than others. Not wrong, right? Just interesting. Now we'll do all the caps. First we'll do our 104s. So that's all the caps, and now we want to put the LED in. As I mentioned before, the front panel, the LED is going to go here. The front panel doesn't have holes in it for it. It's got this little drilled pattern there and there for the LEDs. So we'll want to mount this LED flat on the board. First, I'm going to check it, put my meter in continuity mode, and attach the two leads, positive, negative, and it lights up. Good. So we don't have to worry about that failing on us. Now I'm gonna, where is my solder? I'm gonna rest this on my middle finger ring finger on the back. Solder one leg. Now it's not quite flat and it's not quite straight, so I'll push on it with my index finger firmly now. Heat that leg up again. Wow, that's interesting. It's as if the base of this is not quite flat, but it's fine. Trim those leads off because LED leads are so long. Now get the power regulator. And that's the power regulator. And it goes over here, flat side towards the flat spot on the circuit board. And how did I get solder in there? I got solder in one of those holes. So we just take our solder sucker and we remember where the heck we just were. Oh, right here. Heat that up a little bit. That didn't get it. So I'll go through from the other side, heat it up from that side. Here we go. And put the transistor on also. And I just saw that. There it is. And soldering transistors, a convenient habit is to do the middle leg first, then do the two outer ones. It slightly reduces your chance of bridging the legs, the solder between the legs. This board has got lots of space, so you're not going to be too worried about bridging contacts on this one. Now we're going to put the socket on for the op amp. Again, resting the socket on my pinky finger behind the circuit board. Solder one leg. Take a look, make sure it's all flat, down, notches right, all that kind of stuff. Now, wants to put the potentiometer and one of the push buttons on now. And I'm not going to do that right now, because I'm going to do that once I'm going to put all the rest of things on, so we can get a good panel fit. So instead of doing, I'm going to leave off the push button and the first potentiometer. Oh, I see why he wants to do that. Never mind, because we're going to put the Arduino board back here, so we have to put these two in, because the board is going to be covering them, the solder points. So, I'm going to take the tall push button, put it on the spot with the X, and then potentiometer 1, blue small pod. He mentions at least once in here a drawing, and I couldn't find it on their website, so I don't know where it is, because we don't have actual values listed on here, or a full parts list for all the pots and the switches, so it's a little hard to tell. I mean, it injects a little bit of uncertainty. Now when I'm going to do this, I'm going to drop this panel down like so, so I get roughly the spacing we want to do this. So I'm not too far afield when I put the rest of the controls on. Okay, he wants to do something I don't like to do, but I'm going to do it. We'll put the Arduino on the pin headers before we solder it on. I prefer to do them separately, but I'll follow this build guide. Now, keying wise, as you can see, it's pretty easy to tell. It says USB here, and there's the big USB connector, so that's where it's going to go. I'm going to, after I get this in here, I'm going to make sure, no, there's plenty of space. And also the pins are somewhat snug, so I don't really have to worry about holding it. It's not going to wobble out, but I'm going to hold it with my pinky finger anyway. Make sure everything's good. Everything's good. Alright, there's the Arduino. Now we put the power header on the back with the notch here, which will put the red stripe down here where it says red, and we'll just double check that because it doesn't hurt. Yep, that'll go in just correctly. Power connector's on. Now we'll put all the rest of them in. All the rest of the pots and the jacks. As I mentioned, these component lead holes are big on this. You might have seen me just pushing there on that pot, because usually you're pushing against a little bit of resistance to get it through the hole, and there was no resistance. And the 7 segment's got a couple of legs that are bent. Dot goes in the lower right hand corner. I'm going to put this on here. I don't think I need to, because I don't think it's close enough to the board to have a fitment issue, front panel to have a fitment issue, but I could be wrong. Man. Come on, guy. This one leg is bent in. Go. There we go. Actually, it may go right up against it. Okay, let's drop the front panel on so we can get good fit. Okay, so the segmented display does not press directly up against it. Does he want me to? Oh, it should fit tight against the back of the front panel. Okay, good. So I'm glad I took a look at his guidance there. So what I'm going to do here is I already tacked one potentiometer leg. I'm going to tack one jack leg here. Now I'm going to take one of the panel nuts and tighten it down on the leg that I was just, on the jack that I just put one leg on. Get that pretty snug. Then I'll go up here to the tune pot, which I also had one leg soldered down, and I can get this stupid panel nut on. So that makes everything snug. Everything snug and ready to solder. Now I'm going to push this all the way down like so. In fact, I'm going to take this little piece of vinyl that protected the tip of my pointy tweezers, and I'm going to shove it in there like that to get this display pushed tightly against the front panel. And I'll do two legs at opposing sides, and then pull that vinyl out so I don't forget it. Okay, I'm going to do all the rest of the pins. So we'll go into fast motion playback because this is not something you really need to see a lot of. Okay, so all the soldering is done. I'm going to take the front panel off again to put the op amp in. That's why I only put two panel nuts on. I'm going to do one more thing before I close it all up. I'm going to look at all my solder joints on both sides of the board to make sure I haven't missed anything and I haven't bridged anything. I don't often bridge stuff, but I do find stuff I've missed. Some pins can be irritating. This button doesn't, shift button doesn't stick out very far. And again, it's driven by, how far it sticks out is driven by the height of these potentiometers, because they can only go down so far. Maybe if I, no, it's just not, just doesn't stick out very much. I'll see when I get these pots tightened down all the way. So let's get the power cable in, and with the pots all snug down, I can press that Shift Enter button. So that's the way it looks. It's the front, it's the side, the back, other side, top, and bottom. So we'll put it in the rack and see how she sounds. All right, we'll fire this thing up, see if anything blows up. Here we go. Ah, I forgot to plug it in the wall again. It doesn't work if you don't plug it in the wall. Okay. Okay, we can... Let me look at this straight on. I'm going to get in the way of the camera because I can't really see this right now. Oh, you can see that 7-digit, but not very well. That's a 0 because it's the first preset, but it's really hard to see. So I don't know if it's putting out anything right at this second or it has to be triggered by the attack decay, but we'll see. Now remember, there's no calibration on this, so all your tuning will have to be from this. And as you may notice, there is no fine tune on that. So that's interesting. So that's preset 1. Let's go to preset 2, or 0. Let's go to 1. Don't hear anything. Let's go to 2. Nope. Go to 5. Oh, I'm not hearing anything particular. It's a little gritty. I'm gonna now I'm going to change this. So I'm going to do the actual gating. Ah, that cable's not long enough. Gosh darn it. I'm going to use the AR from now I turn decay way up, and as you can hear, fades away very slowly. I'm going to try the shift to have the attack go up. Wow, I'm not getting anything off the scope for this. This is very interesting. I'm going to go back to not having that gated that way. There we go. Oh, that's interesting. I was losing volume somehow there. I'm going to take the attack as far up as I can. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that anymore. Okay, let's put some mod in. I'm going to go ahead and trigger this now from my sequencer, the Division 6 sequencer. And I just held shift down and changed the quantize on the patch, so that's why you're hearing it a little different now. Now I'm going to put the LFO into the mod. see how that sounds. Let's see how fast it can go. Okay, so that's what it does. A couple of things. The sound is okay. It's not necessarily to my taste, but you may really like it. The patches all seem the same. I should probably experiment a little bit more with mod and the quantize to do that, but I'll do that at my leisure. As we've mentioned, you can program this with, you can download his files, change them if you want to make modifications to the patch, and I may do that sometime. I probably won't record that. The mod is interesting, gives you a little bit of juice in there. Now, one thing I will say, when you're going to do the shift, you lose the current position of, say, the decay. When you shift and then change the attack, the knob position is going to change, and it's not going to have an immediate effect on decay, but it will when you touch it again. Same thing with tune. So that's interesting. But overall, a very quick build and a serviceable little oscillator with its own AR if you want that. And that's what we have for this evening. Hope you enjoyed the video.